Hello, hello. Welcome once again to another edition of Quoth Raven, Lewis Bright Raven. I'm your host, Lewis Bright Raven, 33 years veteran comics, science fiction, fantasy, horror, and role-playing games. It is Wednesday morning. We usually don't do a Wednesday morning show, but we have a special guest. And my camera just went wonky. Come on, go back to thank you. I'm joined by both my regular co-host, Chris Hall, who'll be with us in a second, but also pastor, mentor, and founder of the comics crowdfunding platform fundmycomic.com, Luke Stone.
What's up? Fundmycomic.com. Yeah.
Fundmycomic.com. Yeah.
So
It's been a minute. We were all, Luke and Randy Zimmerman and a few other people. We were all part of a group called Indie Bolt, and of course Randy ran Arrow Comics, and Luke was with Arrow Comics a few years back when I guess you could say disaster struck with COVID, and both Luke and Randy got hit with it and were hospitalized and put in medical comas, all while a person named Varian made promises that whether I don't know if he meant it in goodwill but just failed to deliver, or if he had foul intent. It's hard to say anymore. I think a lot of it was just he was in over his head, but he ended up like pulling almost what Diamond's been pulling with big companies today, and holding the goods and not distributing them, and it came into a mess. And that's part of what led us into forming the platform, as I understand it. I'll let Luke go from there.
Yeah, it was just a small part of that. The primary reason why we started FundMic, I say we, talking to myself like we're plural here. I do have a partner, Todd Altman, who is more like a silent partner these days. He's pretty busy, but he initially made some investment to help us get started. And but no, the primary reason was after, with the whole COVID thing, I was in the hospital for a while, about 5 months exactly, actually, 150 days. When I had a brief coma, a little nap, about 5.5, 6 weeks. When I woke up and finally started getting back on social media, of course, that took a while. So, it was probably a good 2 months before I was able, from the start of the getting real sick to being able to actually look online and see what was going on. I noticed that a lot of people were getting shadow banned from, on a certain pink site. And then not only that there were people that were going to they went the distance with their campaign, and they weren't making big money. You're making, I don't know, $12,000, not $12,000, like $1,200. $12,000 would have been great, right? Like $1,200, $1,300, and they were getting their money withheld because of trust and safety. And I was like, what is this trust and safety thing? There's hardly any trust, from the creator standpoint with these platforms right now, based on what was going on. And then, as I'm seeing that, I wake up, we have a meeting with the guys from this Liberty fiasco that Varian was a part of. And again, I don't know if he was being intentional about screwing us over, if he was there was definitely some deceit, whether that was had malintent or not. With a group of friends, he was still lying to us, and left certain details that were really important out. And it was unfortunate, super unfortunate. We found out that, this whole deal that we had with distributing to Spencer stores was not real. And we had spent money to have 3,000 copies of 9 different books printed for each issue. and we had to have 12 issues. And we were like our second or third month into trying to do printing. And his name is escaping me. It's part of the COVID brain thing. So I still have some like trouble remembering names and dates. Those are the hardest parts for me, names and dates. But one of the guys who was in charge of the actual printing, he took that on himself. He's like, I'm not going to let Varian do this. I'm going to have my hands on this. And we all send him checks for month 2, and he didn't cash the checks. He said, no, we're going to hold off on this. Yeah. And because he, something wasn't passing the smell test for him during that printing brokerage aspect. And so Randy and I went into a coma. So they couldn't share with us their suspicions. Right. And so while we were under, they all started talking, and they're like, we don't think this is real. And, he maintained that it was. There was some theater where they went to New York and tried to sign a contract with Spencer's at 4:00 on a Friday. We all know corporate isn't even open at 4:00 on a Friday. And so there's, this whole mess of things that just went on. And so now I'm realizing that, okay, well, we didn't have the distribution deal that we thought we had. My only connection to the customer is crowdfunding. And this does not feel safe with what's going on with pink and green. Right. So that's what I initially set out. I was just going to make my own website, crowdfund for my own thing. But I'm not a developer. Like I don't write code. I used to write, I know HTML. I'm pretty dangerous with some HTML, no little, CSS, but
there's different platforms of all those things, especially
right. Yeah.
And stuff. Right.
Yeah. That's like a language I haven't spoken in decades. Right. So I started looking around for like these white label websites that they build the stuff for you. And then they put your website branding on it. Right. And make some changes for yourself or whatever. And they host you. And so I'm looking through some of those, and I find 3 or 4. And so I check out 4 different ones. And I wind up settling on this one that I really liked. The base unit was nice, like what I was going to use right out of the box. And so I started my own website, and I actually put my own branding on it, and I had it plugged into my lukestonestudios.com. And I ran a campaign, found some hiccups with some of the changes that I had made. And, so we figured that out. But as I'm doing that, I'm getting help from Tug's web guy, the umbrella guy, Tug's his website guy. And so I'm hanging out with him on StreamYard backyard things. I call them backyards instead of backrooms. Makes sense, right? StreamYard backyard.
Yeah.
I thought it was funny, but
yeah, I mean, that's cool.
I appreciate the charitable laughter on that one. But so we were chatting, and I let him see some of the back end stuff. He goes, dude, you should make you can host other people. I go, I can host as many different users as I want. They can all have their own account and everything like that. And then I can run it from the back end, and it's easy. I mean, it's not a no big deal. So any of my friends that want to use it can. And I'd already told them, if you get banned or whatever, just come use my website. It's no big deal. And he goes, well, you should really think about making this a public website for everybody. And I was like, oh, hell no. I'm not doing that. Are you kidding me? The public? Have you met the public?
Yeah.
And I was like, I'll have to get lawyers to work on terms of service and accountants, and I got to make it like a legit business. I just,
yeah, it seemed overwhelming. Sure,
it was, and so I lucked out. Other people started like really getting on me. Hey, you should do it, and I paid for a couple more upgrades to the code that I wanted, and it was working out pretty good. And so I started chatting around a few people in my hometown. I was in Jacksonville at the time. And I lucked out because one of the families in our church, because I was pastoring there, had like 3 or 4 lawyers in it. And one of them did business law. Like they were doing business law kind of stuff. And then I lucked out when I moved to Southern Indiana because I just happened to stumble across the lawyer that does the law for the entire county of Daviess County. And so he's like big brain lawyer, right? And my daughter was his kid's swim instructor. So I'm like, hey, I need a new lawyer for my business. Let's, and so it just all worked out really well. So I've been like, God's just opened up doors and been very, very fortunate in that account. So to start out with, I had this, these 3 different lawyers that were helping me develop the terms of service, and they didn't charge me a dime because I was there.
Did Brian Menard help you out as well?
No, that he was helping out with something else. He was doing research on the whole B2B business thing. Yeah. So 2 different things at this point. Yeah. At this point, I washed my hands of the Liberty fiasco, and I said, you live, you learn. If I was awake, this would have never gotten this far. But now that I am awake, this is never going to happen again. We're never going to get this far into anything that seems shady. So I was like, I'm going to do it all on my own from now on. Yeah. If my business, my livelihood is in my hands,
Right. And at this point, I had stepped in briefly because you guys were still in the process of fighting to get your books back from Varian. And you'd gotten them back, and you were like, where do we go from here to get what we already have printed distributed? And I remember reaching out to you to see if I could help you. Unfortunately, that didn't pan out, but I did try.
I still got almost 2,000 books in my garage. They're all yours. I don't care.
Anytime you or the rest of the guys want to come on the show and promote that stuff, we're more than willing to help market them again. Anytime you need it. But,
honestly, I've been giving them away to teenagers in my community. Yeah. So that first issue, I just been giving them away.
Yeah. Anything to get a promotion, and it also gives them something to inspire them.
Yeah. And so they're like, when they find out, like, oh, you make comic books. I go from being, the old guy with the gray beard that hangs out around the powerhouse to, oh, Luke makes comic books. He's a real geek. Like he's really cool. Gets us. He gets us. Yeah. And I do. I get you. I'm like, and then they'll come up, they'll see my office and see, the guitars and the toys and stuff like that. And they're like, how old are you again? 45. Yeah. Yep, 45. I still play with toys. I am not ashamed to admit, to this day, I will take a stroll down the toy aisle every once in a while. About once a month or so, I'll just see what's out there and see if there's anything that might look good on my shelf.
Yeah.
So so that's kind of where that all came from. But
so you formed this group and you launched it in 2023.
And it launched in March.
Yeah, and I know I've covered it a few times on the show and kind of done a live shop of what's around on the channel, but we've never really talked about the platform and exactly what your ideology was and why I know you want to do things more affordably than pink or green. We'll call them pink and green. Just what services do you really offer comparative to them?
Well, initially we were thinking about crowdfunding, but, so as I'm building the site and we're working on getting all that stuff done, and as we're building the business, I started shifting to more selling my stuff outright on my website. And I started thinking, man, it'd be really nice if, we could do like storefront stuff. And so we started doing that. In fact, early on, I didn't know if I could actually call it a storefront, without it, going against terms of service or things like that. So we called it a store front, 2 different words instead of a storefront. Right. So, and it's still listed like that on the website to this day, because I was like, let's do a technicality here. Let's not call it a storefront. Let's call it a storefront.
Yeah, it's a
So
front.
yeah, right. Yeah, it's a store front. Yeah.
Not a
So yeah, so
storefront,
we wanted to.
store front.
So yeah, so we're just kind of playing around with the idea, and because we realized we could do these continuous campaigns that had no end date, right?
Right,
Which was going to be very similar to the in demand on Pink.
right.
And so we could do two different types of time-based campaigns. A keep it all, where you get the money, and then we decided the way we wanted to dish that out was different than both of the other sites. We wanted if you're keeping all of the money anyway, you're making the book. There's no question that you're going to make the book. Most of us that do these comic books, we're always making them. We run the crowdfunding as a distribution model, because that's the most effective way that we can get to the fan, to the reader. And so the book's being made. If it's not already made, it's being made, and it's going to be made. But I started thinking there are production costs along the way that we have to wait for until that payout comes. And what was the biggest trust issue that I was seeing my friends have is that they weren't going to get their money.
Right.
Trust and safety was going to come along, and they were going to not get their money. So we decided that we were going to have a method in place, a fail-safe, that once you got approved, you were approved. So if you made any changes post, we had to be able to pull that campaign back out into being edited. That way it wasn't on the front. That way, if you made a change that broke terms of service, we wouldn't have to enforce anything on the back end. We would have to, once it's approved, right? And so we got that installed. We started working out the process for that. Still to this day, we tell people, if you need to make changes to the details, let us know. If it's mid-campaign, and we'll get it back up as soon as you send it over. We initially had it to where even if you edited a reward, it would do that, but we changed that. So rewards, you can edit those all you want. And so, because those are individual, but whatever's in that detail section, we'll pull it right back out of approved mode. And so we kind of worked through some of those growing pains, but I decided that, Pink and Green, they pull the money into their account.
Right.
And then they hold that for 30 or 60 days, whatever it is. During that time, in their escrows, they are collecting interest rates on it. Now, it's not a lot, right? For small campaigns.
It is and it isn't. It's
when you add everyone's stuff all together, the interest over 60 days on some of this stuff is thousands, dare I say, hundreds of thousands at this point with some of these things. With as much money as
per
account,
right?
Per the lion's share. Yeah. If you're looking at the entirety of it, right?
Yeah.
So I was like, there's no reason for us to do that because we're niche. We don't need to do that. So we worked with Stripe to set up escrows. So every creator that comes on sets up their own business. So they're completely independent. And that goes into one of our values of fierce independence. We decided we didn't want to just do 30 and 60-day campaigns because I want to do whatever the heck I want. I'm that kind of guy. I'm Gen X through and through. I do what I want, right? And so I was like, if I want to run a 5-day campaign, I should be able to. No one should stop me. If I want to run a 32-day campaign, gosh darn it, that's what I want to do. So we made it to where you could run any kind of length that you wanted. And so we started working through these different things, and we worked with Stripe to get an escrow set up for each creator. And so when someone backs or contributes to a campaign on Fund My Comic, the fee siphons right off into our account, and the rest goes into that escrow that's directly for that creator. And then we started thinking, well, these expenses, if they got the money now for the expenses, they could get a head start on production cost, if they're still making the book, or if they need to order things. Let's say they make their goal in the first couple of days. If they got that money right away, and everything is just icing on the cake. So they could get that money right away and go ahead and get the print order started, start working on proofs and things like that without coming out of their own pocket. because most of us don't do this full time. You know, we do another job, and then we also do crowdfunded comic books because we love it. It's our passion. And we don't have corporations backing us. So we decided that we do payouts as soon as they came out. So as soon as the money was cleared through Stripe, why shouldn't it just automatically go into the creator's bank account? So we started doing that.
So how does that work with people taking back their pledges and refunds and stuff like that?
You have 5 days, and that's why you have a 5-day policy to contact FMC and get a refund. On the all or nothing, which we've actually had to stop the all or nothing, we've paused them briefly, and I'll get into that in here just a second. But with the all or nothing, that doesn't actually hit the bank until the end of the campaign. It's like the green site would work. So all of the pledges go through then. And so up to that point, you can change or cancel your pledge on your own. Otherwise, you've got 5 days to work with FMC, but our main goal is to get the customer, the reader, the fan, and the creator to build a relationship, right? So we're the conduit between the two. So we really try to encourage the creator and the fan to talk. Because that's what I do when I run my own business and why I was running my own website.
Right.
So we have created the hub for that.
Yeah, you have to have good business relations with your customers. And
so
you got to teach that a little bit for some of these. When you start a business, most of us have not gotten the business acumen, and a lot of the creators, we're used to like working in our offices or in our garages or wherever we're at doing our work, and it's not easy to build that kind of core connection to people. They're not good at public relations, and so
that's why holding the hands to help with that, the people. So we're that nice conduit. It's like, hey, this backer would like to change their pledge, but it's after the 5 days. So, and then so we're talking to the creator on our end, and then we tell the backer, hey, why don't you contact the creator for that and let them take care of it, right? So we're kind of working on both ends there to facilitate that relationship. And once a creator that's first time, and we work with a lot with first time creators. Once they've kind of gotten through that once or twice, they're like, oh, this is not so they're not so hard, right? And so they're like, yeah, this is easy peasy, and they wind up learning they've got finding out they've got a skill they didn't know they had, or that they're developing a skill they didn't have before. And so it's there is a little bit of, but that's kind of the boutique aspect of it, being that conduit between those two and helping facilitate that. But again, it's for the love of the game,
right?
For the love of comics.
When you go with pink or green and you do that, they can be very bullyish about things to both sides, both the creators and the backers, because at the end of the day, to them, it's their money first. And, all that money that gets raised on any campaign for them, like you say, it goes into an escrow that they earn interest on. And plus they get fees after they even pay you what's, after the campaigns are done, you get only so much of it. You don't get all of it. So this is a different model.
It's quite a bit different. And some people are like, well, unless you think like the other guys, you'll never be as big as the other guys. And I'm like, I don't care.
You don't want to be. You don't want to be.
I don't want to be as big as the other guys. That
would require you hiring a bunch of people, and then
I want to keep my staff small. I like to keep my circle tight when it comes to that. People that I trust. And we're not for everyone. If you've got a massive audience on your own, I don't know why you're using pink and green to begin with. You should totally be making
building your own. Yeah.
There's no reason why you shouldn't. You're going to keep all of your own money.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, there's some expense in that, and that's where Fund My Comic comes in.
Mm-hmm.
We covered expense that people don't have.
Mm-hmm.
And we actually have a widget where you can plug your campaign into your own website.
Mm-hmm.
You know, so there's ways to do that.
Mm-hmm.
But you have to decide if what we offer is what is needed
Mm-hmm.
for your business. Now, because we're so flexible, we're really good for campaigns and storefronts of comic books, games, novels, really of any size, but really that beginner to moderate traffic kind of person.
Right.
And because we have so many people like that coming into Fund My Comic, everyone's bringing their own traffic in, that was always the big concern. What about traffic? Traffic trade. The other sites have all this, but 5% of both of those companies is comic books. Another 5% games. And we do some games, but really we're like less than 1% of the campaigns we run are games. The majority of what we do is comic books and comic books only. Graphic novels, comic books. So you got to think 100% of the people that visit Fund My Comic are there to do what? Fund someone's comic. It's exactly, it's in the name, right? So when they're there, they're a comic book fan. They're shopping or angel investing into comic books. So what you have a chance at 100% of the audience to draw their attention to what you're making, right? So it's really up to you in that sales aspect. But now if I bring my audience of, a couple hundred people and someone else brings their audience of a couple hundred people and, and right now we've got over 100 active campaigns on Fund My Comic. And if each one, let's just say, is out there hustling and they're bringing 100 to 150 people to their campaign, well, now you've got the potential of 1,500 different potential backers, right? And obviously, I'm being very conservative with those numbers.
Right.
Some people are bringing in hundreds of people. Just the other day, we had a campaign go live and we had, several thousand people hit the website in just a matter of minutes.
Yeah, because that was Mike Barron.
Yeah, Mike Barron. Yeah. So it's like, and we can look on the back end and see what those users are doing. Do you think they only looked at Mike Barron's campaign? No,
they looked at other people's.
No,
about 20%
of them. Yeah, about 20% of them went to other campaigns as well. Of those 20%, about 7% of that 20% actually backed other campaigns that day while they were there.
Yeah,
we can track that on the back end,
right?
And that is a sweet spot for us, right? So we started out with 3% platform fee because we didn't know how things would work out. We originally wanted it to do a 2% platform fee. Last year, we were able to knock that down to 2%. We've been able to run a 1% platform fee for the last 6 months, I think it's been. So instead of the 3, we've been doing a 1% platform fee. On the website, we've got this really cool calculator called the campaign calculator.
Right. Let me go ahead and call that up real quick.
Yeah.
Well, that's a heck of an incentive. 1% platform fee compared to the 10% of the others.
Well, there's still the stripes. So when you're counting that 10%, their platform fees are actually 5% plus stripes, which is about another 5%. So
yeah, it's still 10%, but you figure the platform fee for pink and green is anywhere from 6 to 15, depending on how you set up your platform. And then you're having them hold it for 30 days or however many days after your campaign closes, that they're collecting interest in escrow that these guys don't do. And then there's always, I don't know how you handle your legal side, concerning, like, if you do a parody comic or something like that, Pink and Green can actually, they're legal people. If they have a way, if you're doing a parody of a Marvel character and Marvel sees it and doesn't like it, they can contact Pink and Green's legal team and cut you out. And just cancel your campaign out from under you. I don't know how your situation is, because you're smaller, you're under the radar, so to speak, unless you've got people actively, gunning.
We have people. Yeah, we have actual, like, I never received a death threat in all of my days until I started this website. Like, I received a legit death threat. I had to, we looked at doing a restraining order for my family. Because I started a comic book website. People are deranged, dude. I'm telling you.
Yeah.
Again, have you met the public?
Yeah. Well, there's a difference between a public individual being an ass, and I'm talking about, like, corporation coming in and saying, you can't do this because this infringes on our copyright or trademark or whatever.
Right. So what these individuals that are being an ass do is they will contact these corporations to try to get them to come after a campaign. And then by extension, like, oh, well, they're going to sue Fund My Comic. Well, two things there. Number one, these people have no idea what they're doing or what they're talking about when they say things like that. Because, right, in our terms of service, we're not liable. So no one's going to sue Fund My Comic for anything. I had lawyers make sure that was very well written in the terms of service. And as soon as you create an account, you have to agree to those terms of service. And, that releases Fund My Comic out of any kind of liability. We are an LLC, so it's not going to hurt Luke. The way that we do the money, no one can come after your campaign money because it's in your escrow. Doesn't even touch Fund My Comic accounts. So we understood there were going to be bad players out there, and so this is all part of the process to keep from that. But we actually had somebody tip off Games Workshop about something. So if you know anything, they're very litigious.
Yes, they are.
So they contacted us, and they didn't talk about the designs. They didn't talk about anything like that, any of the imagery. All they talked about was one of the campaigns used the term Space Marine. Well, my lawyer had his paralegal do some things, pulled up a quick research says, yeah, no, they can't claim the term Space Marine. Like, so we write a nice letter back to, the law department. Very nice people, by the way, over there, just doing their jobs. And, explain to them that, hey, if that's your complaint, there's nothing we can do. They're within their rights to use that. Here's, as here's the litigation that where a lawyer found that, in a previous lawsuit that you filed, that you did not win about the term of Space Marine, that it's part of the codex. Just, sorry about that. If you have any other problems, we're not going to take the campaign down because we feel they're completely within their right. And you can go ahead and contact the creator. And we never heard back from them. The campaign finished and fulfilled, and that was that. The only time that we kind of had an issue was over a Zorro book. And honestly, there wasn't an issue on our end, and we weren't going to take it down. But the creator kind of got cold feet, and he took it down. And again, if the creator decides to take it down, that's up to them. But like I said, once it's listed, it's listed. Because I do most of the reviews, but me and the three other guys that do reviews, we're very thorough.
We try to be thorough about
with that stuff. And even the one where this Games Workshop got in there, I was like, this is just different enough. But if they come back and say anything about the designs, it's close enough, like it's kind of a gray area,
Yeah,
like it's real close. It's real stinging close. But and I had talked to the creator. He's like, well, actually, the designs come from this, and gave the references. I'm like, okay, I see the references that, okay, we'll let that go. But if they come at you about the designs, we might just have to take it down.
Yeah.
And they never did. They came after the one thing that we definitely wouldn't fold on. So, again, my lawyer is the county lawyer for the, for the county I live in. So he's not afraid. I mean, he goes up against the state lawyers, and he goes up against federal lawyers. He's not afraid, of some entertainment company. So it's like when he was like, I'm going to sue you. Like, they made a parody of me and made fun of me. It's like, well, that's a general name. So, I mean, it's anyone could be named that. It's just his first name they're using. And it doesn't really, it's like they're within their right. It's parody law. They're perfectly within their right to do that. I am a First Amendment guy, and I just let it go. Yeah.
Now, we're looking at your site, and you wanted me to take a look at the campaign calculator?
Yeah. This is a really cool feature that we offer, so people can see exactly how much they would save. So if you look at your funding dollar amount or nearest dollar amount, so if you just take like the last campaign that you did on pink or green, this is where this really comes in handy. And we are developing one that will calculate your entire campaign.
Let's just say 10,000 for or to give a is that how I put it in? Or do I do it?
Oh, that right there.
All right. There you go.
So right now everyone's getting the ambassador program rate, the 1%, plus a 3% Stripe fee. So your total fees from us are going to be $416 on that, 67 cents. If you go to pink and green, you see there $869.57 is what you're paying there. Even at our non-exclusive 3%, you were saving over $200. But at the 1%, you're going to keep $452, almost $53 more dollars in that campaign. I don't know what you think, but I'm going to be honest with you. $453 goes a long way when you're making a comic book. That's an expensive cover that you can have done by a great artist. If you're paying, let's say you're paying $120 a page for your inks, for your pencils and inks, you're getting another 3 pages done with some change. Or let's say, you want to cover extra shipping, or that, to think that you have that cushion, that if an expense is higher than what you expected it to be, or if you just want to be able to go out to a really nice steak dinner and celebrate, you've got it. You've got that money there, right?
I mean, that pays a letterer for the entire book, pretty much.
That's your whole letterer, yeah. Absolutely, yeah. That's your whole letterer, and so because the thing is, I have a job, and I draw comic books, and so I'm making money. The goal is not to make money on the website. I mean, ultimately for it to pay for itself, but that's why we have the tip program, and that directly benefits the creator and the website. So if a backer tips the website on a campaign, we track all of those, and that moves you further up the front page. So when you first log on, all those people that are in that order, that's not arbitrary. That's because their backers are tipping the website.
Okay.
And thank you, Donald Trump. I don't know if, not to alienate any of, the other 49% of the population out there, but thank you, Donald Trump, for no tax on tips, because we're offering a service, and the tips, because we don't have to pay a tax, we pay lower taxes, the business structure that we have, we are able to keep that 1% going. And so, we would love to get to the point where we go to the point where we could do a 0% platform fee, and it's just completely tip based, but we're not there yet.
Yeah. Well, there's a goal for you then, how do you think, people have received you over the last 2 years? I mean, I know that Mike just came over from his other platform to just launching Bronze Star 2.
Yeah.
And he's like one of your bigger profile guys. I know Peter Samedi uses you non-exclusively.
Yeah.
But a lot of the guys are, let's call them back of the catalogs. That wouldn't really,
Right.
nobody knows who they are.
They're not whales, they're tuna.
Yeah.
There's way more tuna than there are whales, right?
Yeah.
And so everyone's like, we look at those bigger creators that have a larger audience. They've got this, the very public resume,
right?
And we call those whales. No, we all do. But if you look in the ocean, there's more tuna. There's way more tuna. And I'm a tuna. You're a tuna. We're a tuna.
Yeah.
But there's way more of us than there are of them.
Yeah.
And so that's always been my audience. That's who I'm here for. The little guy, the tuna.
Mm-hmm.
One whale brings a lot of attention, but when you have 100 tuna, 90 tuna, it brings a lot of attention too. And but we give everyone the same attention, and everyone has the same rules. There's no differentiating that. And I mean, look at here. Actually, we've got this guy, Alpha and Omega. This is his first campaign. He's never ran a campaign before. He has no audience. Bronze Star has an audience, right?
Right.
They're running exclusive for the first 30 days here on Fund My Comic.
Right.
Yeah,
a lot of
this
these
guy,
people, I'm not as familiar with them. I mean, I know who Silverline is.
Yeah.
I know Tribe Studio. Of course, I know Peter, and I knew Mike. I actually helped promote Bronze Star too. But a lot of these guys I hadn't even heard of when I came over here, and I was like, I don't want to. I mean, if you're not as familiar with me running both the Raven Side Left Variants group, but what I do every Tuesday is I go on Pink and Green, I go on Zoop, I go on others, and I promote campaigns.
Yeah.
A lot. And I was like, well, how come nobody from Fund My Comic ever comes over to ask me to promote them? So let them know that I'm available.
Oh, I certainly will. We actually, when a campaign gets approved, it sends out an email.
Yeah.
And
so, let them know.
Those are actually pretty impressive numbers for being funded.
Yeah.
And these are actually low numbers because of the crowdfunding slump that the summer hit. Yeah. I mean, it hit everybody. I mean, across every platform, everybody is feeling the crunch of the summer. But yeah, so we do have the people that come on the website are coming to buy. They're coming to let me see. We've had I'm trying to think of some of the larger we've got Cecil has a pretty big audience. He's made 88,000 on the website. We've had we've gotten up to the Rainy Draws was on there. She got several thousand like tens of thousands of dollars.
Right.
Yeah. On average, I mean, we see between $5,000, $10,000 backings. We haven't had anybody hit the six figure yet. No 100,000 backers, 100,000 being pulled in yet. But I honestly, I think with some of the crowdfunding tomfoolery that we've seen, I wonder if we'll get to those numbers again, unless you've come from one of the big two or three, and you have that kind of audience. Because we are a website that's free for anyone to use, there's still people that play political games.
Right.
I think they're more concerned about, those kind of things than they are, just comic books in general.
Well, here's the thing, as you said, you're a platform, but everybody's account is their own separate escrow.
Yeah.
you're technically using the same platform to compete with each other on, and it's all individual storefronts, and you can pick and choose whoever you want to work with, and that's what customers who come to the site need to understand. You know, and really it's the same way with Pink and Green. They don't care either who's with what political party or whatever. They just want to get paid. But the difference,
the people do get upset.
Yeah,
because they think that they can contact us and take people down.
Yeah,
that's the thing. They think they can, because we're a smaller site. They think they can bully and say things, right? And that, you know, because I'm accessible, they should be able to tell me how to run things. And I mean, we take advice, we take suggestions from the people that use the site. But what we don't do is bend the knee to bullies. Like that's just not something that you're going to see me do. I've never done that in my life. I'm not starting today. It's just not going to happen. And that upsets some people. And because we're a smaller site and we let people they disagree with politically or because they don't like them. And, you know, there's jerks that are using the website. And there's really nice guys that are using the website. And there's the jerks fall on both sides of different arguments. And I just don't care about any of that.
Right.
I'm here about comic books. If you can make your campaign look good and sell the comic based on merit, then by all means, you're going to be able to run the campaign on Fund My Comic.
There's
so because of that.
So question, is there any sort of content moderation? And if so, what?
Yeah, we have content moderation. Now, whatever's in the book, we don't really care unless it's illegal. You know, like if you're doing something that has, child essay or something like that in it.
Right.
We're not going to suffer with that. If it's illegal, you can't do it. But all our moderation is based on the front-facing campaign. So we don't show nipples and crotches. Can't do that. Actually, if you go to Cecil's campaign, that is a perfect example of what kind of limits we allow. And I worked with Cecil directly, and I said, "Look, you can't show this. So what you need to do is, it would be really funny. Just put Cecil's face on top of it. Just put the cash grab face on it." And so that's what he did to cover up the things that were inappropriate. And it worked out great, actually, because in many cases that's funnier than showing the thing that you're not allowed to show to begin with. And so we look at that. We limit language. We were real hard on language to start with, but then I got to the point. It's like, that's free speech as long as the language isn't harmful. That it's not, screaming at people. We were back and forth. By the way, on that man boobs.
I was gonna ask about that. Like,
yeah, I'm like, should we cover that? I'm like, but it's not boobs, right? It's not like, it's not female breast. It's man boobs. And I'm like, we deliberated for hours back and forth. I mean, I have my little group of people and all of the admins were like, I'm like, I don't know. It's man boobs. We really can't do anything about it. Cause it's not so it's kind of that gray area.
Right.
And and then it asked, is it funny?
Because it was funny. Thing, again, just because you are allowing him to use the platform, that doesn't mean that, hey, we like this comic and you should buy it.
It's not an endorsement. Yeah,
exactly.
It's not none of it's an endorsement. And people think that, that if that it's an endorsement.
Yeah,
and it's not. It's just
it's the same thing. It's the same thing when I bring on a guest on the podcast. Yes, I try to be fair. I try to be, forthcoming and honest if I'm going to support a book or not support a book. Chris will tell you he has completely different tastes from me. He reviews books that I like. What in the world are you reading? but it's like if that's what he wants to promote, that's what he wants to promote. As long as it's not like gratuitously overly violent or
Right.
has the questionable things that aren't what we want to sell for kids. And if we even have something that is mature readers, we are very forward about, hey, this is for adults only. So but
yeah, we do have like we have the mature ratings and stuff, so that people can filter out what they don't want to see and what they do want to see. But here's the beautiful thing about comics. I was a real outcast in high school, and to be real fair, I'll be really honest in this moment about why I was such an outcast. My family, we were homeless from the ages of 12 to 13, and because back then there wasn't resources for families. If we would have went to get help, it would have broke up the family, and we weren't going to do that. So we lived in a van and slept in parks, from different places. And while Dad was trying to find work and then working and trying to get to where we had enough money to get into a place. So I really couldn't talk about that. I couldn't talk about my life. Couldn't have friends come over. I couldn't get dropped off at a friend's house. I mean, I just couldn't have friends really in that situation. It was very lonely. It was not fun at all. And, but I still had comic books because that was the one entertainment that I could keep with me. And I read comic books all the time. And I remember I'm at a lunch table and I'm sitting there and I've got my comic books out and I'm alone. And another kid walks up and I'm not even paying attention. He slams down on the table, pah! And I look up and there's his hand holding this comic book, same comic book I'm reading. And I look up and it's like this other kid that's just another outcast kid. And we sit down and we start talking about the issue, start talking about what happened the issues before. And then, the next day we're doing lunch again together. We bring more comic books, start talking about it. Next thing I know, this another kid comes up, like, oh, I heard you talking about, and we wound up having this amazing friend group that was just so weird and diverse. And I say diverse, not in the sense of what we've made diversity out today. I mean, we were just weirdos, and weirdos come from all walks of life, different backgrounds, different sexes, genders, different ideologies. Some of us were Republican, some of us were Democrat. We didn't even really know what that meant back then. We didn't really care. Some of us knew that we liked Clinton. Some of us didn't, and it was mostly because our parents said something about it, right? We didn't care. All we cared about, like, we argued about comic books, but we all got each other and we had each other's back. And that's what was so good about comic books and why I loved it, why I still love it to this day, and what I want to get back to, and which is why I focus so much on the community that's around Fund My Comic and on our pillars of freedom of expression, fierce independence, and trust, so that we can break away from all of that political jargon and BS and not worry. Like, it doesn't matter, because comic books is what's going to join us together. Sure. Whether you like a comic or not, there were guys that went to the comic shop that I didn't care for, and they didn't like me, but we still, we were still comic fans. And just because you're a part of a comic fandom doesn't mean you agree with everyone that's also in that fandom, and doesn't mean that you should make them agree with you. No. It doesn't matter. It's an art form that we want to enjoy. It's storytelling. I think it's storytelling at its finest. It combines two of the greatest forms of communication, visuals and words, in this perfect marriage of creativity. And dude, just chill out, right?
Yeah.
Like, just don't.
That art form has been going on for a millennium too. You read the Scott McCloud stuff, and it's just how he connects, like how far the art form has gone back.
You know what the very first form of communication was? Sequential art. Cave drawings is sequential art. They're telling a story. They're drawing pictures. Hieroglyphs, sequential art, telling a story. Yeah. The oldest art form and the greatest art form will always be sequential art. Always be. When film degrades into nothing, there's still going to be print material. It's going to be sketches on walls. It's always going to be there.
Well, if you break down film, it's sequential
art. It's sequential art. It moves really, really fast. Yeah, exactly. I was thinking of that as I was saying it. I was like, really, that's sequential art. Someone's going to notice that in the comments. So, by the way, but yeah, so it's just, for me, it's ridiculous that we're even fighting over things that honestly in 20 years aren't going to matter. Just like people fought over Ross Perot and Bush. It doesn't matter now. Just the way it didn't really matter then, you know? What matters is if we want the world to be a better place, we make it a better place. We do it. We can do that in our own art form. If you want comics to be better, we make comics better. Yeah. You don't have to wait on a corporation to try to do it. Look, Disney doesn't care about Marvel. That's the smallest portion of their business. All they want to do is siphon all of the creative juices that Stan and Kirby put into it over the years, and Rob and everybody else. Yeah, they just want to use that content.
All Disney cares about is IPs. That's it.
That's all they want.
Right.
We care about stories here.
Yeah. And the thing is, you know, you were talking about going into the comic shop. You know, you go into the comic shop today and it's, you know, they almost do a song and dance routine trying to promote the IP brand to you. And it's like, hey, you know, there's more to this than just Super Spider Bats X Manure. you got, what else you got?
Yeah. You got something to make me feel something?
Yeah.
I want to feel something. I want to feel something other than doom and gloom that we have in this world today. Yeah. I want something, you know, some going to make me laugh. Some going to make me hate. You know, am I going to hate it? That's also entertainment. I want a bad guy that I'm going to hate so that I can focus all of my hate and anger on that fictional character and remove it from my family and my coworkers and my neighbors.
Hey, there you go.
That really says something when a fictional character can elicit that sort of emotion.
Yeah.
And it also then conversely makes you want to cheer on the protagonist because you hate that antagonist.
Yes. The protagonist is only as good as the antagonist. If you know anything about stories, you know that's true. We all know that's true. And so, but again,
all right.
That's what comics is all about, right? And that's what Fund My Comic exists for. So it's not for the people that want to be hyper political, and there are people that refuse to use the website. 1, because I started it. 2, because it's new. 3, because someone that they disagree with ideologically is on it. And I'm like, you know what? That's fine. But we have grown tremendously in the last March will be our 3-year anniversary, March 17th. Okay. So we've only been at this, a little over 2.5 years, and we're gonna be at it a lot longer.
Okay.
Well, I wish you all the success, and hopefully you get to the level where you're buying new headquarters like Polito with his crowdfunding platform.
That would be great. Yeah, that would be great. I would love it to where if I had to hire a staff and they could take care of it, and then I could just keep drawing comics. And
how are you guys doing with the new distributor groups? I mean, have they reached out to you at all to like say, hey, we'd like to maybe even pick up some of these books for store distribution?
Are you talking about Philbo?
Yeah.
Well, yeah, that's really individually that they're working with that. I am in the process of working on a partnership with a well-known printer that is also getting ready to increase their business model into more on-demand things.
Okay.
So I am in the process of working out a deal with them, which is actually where I have to go now.
Yes. Okay. Well, that we want to thank Luke for being on, and when you have that resolved and that come back to me, we'll talk about it and get it announced.
Absolutely, yeah, because we'll want to spread that far and wide, because that's going to be a huge game changer for all of us salmon. Yeah. All of us, yeah.
All right. So we've been talking with Luke Stone, founder of fundmycomic.com. Please visit fundmycomic.com for a great exploration of alternative and independent comics that you won't find anywhere else, as well as some stuff that maybe you'll find at Pink and Green, but you can get it, maybe give the guys a little more money than what they get at Pink and Green. So, it's always a good idea and option as well.
Yeah. Thanks for having me, guys.
Thank you.
Great talking to you, Luke.
Yeah. And we're going to go ahead and get this one closed out, and we're going to do our usual. If I can get to my closeout page, it doesn't want to close out, of course. Come on. Why are you not working? There we go. Come on. There we go. Sorry. If you want to reach out for me on social media, it's Lewis.BrightRaven on Facebook, Twitter X, the Muskrat channel at LewisBrightRave2. You can see more of my artwork at deviantart.com/BrightRaven, more of Chris's art at deviantart.com/FatBoy73. Luke, do you have a page that you want us to share other than Fund My Comic?
Pretty much just Fund My Comic. They can also go, if you want to know anything else about me, I'm on Luke Stone Studios on X and on Facebook and all of those other places. If you want to check out some of the ministry work, if you want to check out some of the ministry work that I'm doing, you can go to WashingtonPowerhouse.org and check that out. That's the ministry that I work for here. And then our new church plant is GraceRiverFellowship.com. And then, as always, go check out all the Arrow Comic stuff, which we're getting ready to put out a store on Fund My Comic instead of having our own website. So we'll have a storefront on there with all the Arrow Comic stuff coming soon. Yeah. Okay, then you can watch it exclusively on YouTube at Quoth the Raven, Lewis Bright Raven. Email quoththeravenlbr72@gmail.com. If I don't get back to you, try lewisbrightraven@yahoo.com. Thanks again, Luke. We appreciate you coming on. And, send Randy my way if you can, because Randy hasn't really spoken to me since he came out of the coma. And I think that Varian kind of spoiled our relationship. I don't know. But pretty much anyone that was associated with Varian there for a while, we just steered clear of, because we didn't know.
He knew me years before Varian, and then Varian said, Varian said to me that Randy did, and I'm like, I don't believe Randy did what you said. So, but he hasn't spoken to me since he came out of the coma, and I've always what happened there, But I knew
we're just cautious people now. We're all very cautious people now. We didn't see that coming with Varian, because we're all friends with him. We didn't see that coming.
I did. So. I saw it right away, but that was just my instincts personally. But that's kind of why I kind of left when I did before all that happened. But it
was a mess. But I wish I wish the best for Varian. I just wish him not in my circle. Exactly. I wish him the best somewhere else. And I pray for him. I found out he had some health problems. I was praying for his health and those kind of things. But God bless him. God love him. He is one of God's creation, bears the image of God, and so I pray for him. But that was a pretty grievous betrayal, and so I prefer not to tread potential dangerous grounds with someone like that.
Right, exactly. Alrighty, so that's what we're doing, and thanks for watching, folks. We'll see you next time on Quoth the Raven. Nevermore.